when it comes to the business, I don't come up with a target.
Okay.
I don't. I don't tell my team members, here's your target, go achieve it. They come back to me saying, this is what I want to achieve. This is what my funding plan looks like. This is how much am I supposed to be burning, or this is how what my working capital will look like. What do you think?
Guys, thank you all so much for joining us. As we all know, Mayank Tiwari is here, founder and CEO of ReshaMandi. Um,
Thank you. Thanks.
Before we start, Mayank, I want to do a very small thing.
Oh,
This is a very good quality mirror. I don't know. It's from Resha Views. I don't know if you have heard of this. So, with us, with a little bit of
you're
love,
gifting me my brand. That's very hilarious.
so we couldn't have bought a better brand. So we want to bring this
Oh, thank
traditional
you.
way of felicitating guests.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll
And I would request you to put it the way you do it on your
Sure. Sure.
videos.
Give me 1 second. 1 second.
Right, guys. Mayank here from Resha Mandi.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for this. And I wasn't expecting this.
Right.
Anyways.
So, as we all know, and also Mayank, we do this once in a quarter.
Sure.
We do this so that we are already quite inspired by what the startup ecosystem does. We always get to hear news about any new brand or a particular product coming up, and one such company is Resha Mandi, which we always knew from a long time. We were here in the same building, and
Right.
then we also track your journey of, and you, I mean, it's all there in the press also as to what you do, what milestones are you achieving, etc. But and also you also are very well aware that there are quite a lot of podcasts, interviews that happens which talks about an entrepreneur or a startup and its journey, etc. But for us at Founders Fund Network, I would say, let's try and talk business 50%, but the other 50% we also would like to understand the journey, a journey of Mayank and your team, because I believe we have a lot of entrepreneurs within the company. What inspires them? Why should they put their sweat into building a startup's dream, right? So a few things like that we would want to understand.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks for calling me. And simply put, I think a founder's journey is one of the hardest journey you take
Right.
all through your life. It's almost like a marriage that you are getting into with no imminent divorce there. You can't detach yourself from the brand or from the company. Uh, the company becomes your life at some point in time, and your co-founder becomes your other wife. And I
Right.
keep on talking about that. It's so important for the initial team members to come together and really have this abiding faith on the vision of the founder. And if it's not there, see, I don't think a founder can make a company. It's the team that makes the company. It's the team that creates the growth. And often than not, I think what happens is founder gets all the credit. Um, and I'm not very uh, so to say. I think founders can take the some part of the credit. Probably their credit is to think about it and start it, but I think the team has to take the 99% credit on themselves. And it's important for the team to feel that they're part of a journey that's going to probably change the world at some point in time. Because if a startup is not thinking that out loud, uh, your growth will be hampered, your vision would be hampered. You'll keep on pivoting to things, and it just sometimes don't work, right? And that's why I say that it's one of the hardest journey that you can take, even more so as a team member, because It's totally unpredictable, guys, totally unpredictable. So you need to be more cautious about your brand, your company, and make sure the company comes first, founders comes next, team comes third. Your life has to be the fourth priority. And I'm not saying that you go against the work and life balance and all that. The new millennials are saying that already. I don't have to reiterate that. But I think it's more about, you know, having this very simple mindset that everything that I do adds value to my customer, adds value to the company, creates a shareholder value, because that's very, very important for a founder, and for the investors who are coming in. They're backing on you. They're not banking only on the founder. So it's very, very important for the initial team members to understand that.
Right, right. As I said, in the press, we see very nice, colorful things happening at ReshaMandi. Resha Views is born, etc., etc. Tell us something very internal, which is, I'm sure you might have at some point in time faced a situation where आगे बढ़ना है कि नहीं, क्या करना है, what am I going to do at at a roadblock or a challenge, which at that time you probably had no clarity, but then you eventually probably found a way or something. Do you also come across, or have you also come across something like this?
Do you come across a situation where you are almost certain the company will shut down? Yes. Take no, I have no two ways about that, right? But that's my job, to save the company. Right? As the founder, I think at a matured stage, the founder's job is only two, three things: managing people, managing the perception of the company, and making sure that the company is capitalized enough so that it has a longer runway. That's
Right,
it. उसके अलावा हमारे पास कोई काम नहीं है. Right? It's
right,
for you guys to take that journey forward and actually execute on it. So does it happen at Resha Mandi? Very simply put, yes, it does happen. There is a project that is very dear to your heart, but you put all your energies in it.
right,
3 months later, you realize nothing worked out. So what do you
right,
do, right? So here's something that what we do. We for employees we have something called PIP. We
right,
put them on a performance improvement plan
right,
and make sure there is a guidance given to them so
right,
that they can achieve their KPIs, make sure that the goals are aligned and all that. But for a PNL or for a business, what do you do? So we carved out something called strategic initiatives, which
right,
is more often than not our experiments and 0 to 1 journeys.
right,
So if a PNL is failing at some point in time, a strategic initiative becomes their PIP, right? We put
right,
them under a very different team, making sure that they can progress slowly and steadily, no pressure, and give them 6 months, and see what happens in 6 months. If it works, it's back in the business. If it's not, it's out of the business. It's a very clear indication that whatever you thought didn't work out. Data is proving you wrong. Great. Take the step of actually delineating yourself from there and actually moving towards something that's actually working for you. So yeah, that's what we do.
right. So
Sorry, can I take this off now?
yes, yes,
I'm
please.
sorry.
Right. So the first year, I think you did about 20 CR. Correct me if my numbers are wrong. Second year, it went to about 450 CR, and then third year, roughly close to 2000 CR, which is what is in the press as well. So
Yeah,
from 20 to 400, from 400 to 2000, it could have, it might have been a mad rush to handle things that way, and scale up and still make sure the compliance are in place, the team is taken care of. So share some of your way of working that helped you still make team members comfortable, at the same time chase that growth.
I don't make team members comfortable. Sorry, I don't. When it comes to the business, what we do is we don't really. I don't come up with a target.
Okay.
I don't. I don't tell my team members, "Here's your target. Go achieve it." They come back to me saying, "This is what I want to achieve. This is what my funding plan looks like. This is how much am I supposed to be burning, or this is how what my working capital will look like. What do you think?" and they'll give me 3 4 options to choose from. My life is simple, just choose from the options that are there and look at the data very carefully. So the 20 to 415 crore journey, even that 20 crore journey, it's all my team that has put that journey together. They, because if your team is basically ready to take that target onto themselves, and I am not forcing you, then you put your neck on the line already. I would also put my neck on the line alongside you. I don't have a problem doing that, because you're going beyond my expectation. I mean, none of the companies I have seen, go for a 20x growth or a 5x growth after a 415 crore year, right? It's very very hard. But at ReshaMandi, I think our simple synergy is close the month on the last day. First of every month, we have something called Dhanda meeting. We don't call it a strategic meeting. We don't call it business meeting.
Dhanda meeting.
We call it Dhanda because pure play, हम धंधा कर रहे हैं. So it's called Dhanda meeting for a reason that everybody, all departments have defined something as a goal for themselves. All departments, be it HR, be it finance, be it marketing, Sohini, everybody, right? So everybody put together their goals. Now, on first, when we are reviewing it, our financial figures are closed. So, of course, we will clap, blah, 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 right? But we'll ask you what went right, what went wrong. What went wrong, can we stop that? What went right, can we enhance it? Right? What support are you expecting from us? If you are expecting support, then be clear as to what are you expecting. Once that is done, 15th of 16th of the month, we meet again mid-month, very briefly, just to see as to where everyone is and if they require any additional support so that they can achieve their goals. And then the month end closes, and every month end close, all my business leaders, all my finance leaders, all including me and Saurabh, including my VP of engineering, my chief product officer, to almost all the top management is there in office till 12 o'clock in the night to close the numbers that we wanted to achieve. Once the 12 o'clock deadline is over, 12:01 is when the calculation of our final figures happen. My VP of finance has the responsibility of writing that down on a, we have writable tests. So he will write it down on a writable desk and say, okay, this is what we have achieved. This is what our margin is. This is what our EBITDA is. This is what our PAT is. Is everybody happy? And we clap and we go home. That's how our month ends. So for us, that's a simple synergy.
And this happens every month.
Every month.
Very good. We saw that on LinkedIn as well, and I was pretty impressed. And I must say that I then shared this to the team, and we said that, I don't know why I said last दिन पे नहीं चाहिए, first को करेंगे. I think some of our subscription payments comes late in the night and things like that. But then, so next day, then the team comes at 9 a.m. or they come in the afternoon?
9:30.
Yes. So
there is no respite of coming to office, okay, by the way. We've been an avid believer that work from home works for only a certain kind of task. It doesn't work for everyone. I make sure that I am the first person to arrive at office and not the last person to leave. I try to get out of their heads probably around 6:37 to make
Right.
sure that they have their time.
Right. You said you don't make the team comfortable.
I don't.
Can you go a little more deeper into
team
what?
is always uncomfortable, and team has to be uncomfortable. I have to be uncomfortable. If I'm comfortable, then I'm Tata. Then I'm Reliance. I can't be comfortable. Why should I be comfortable? Have I achieved everything in my life? No. अभी तो shares भी नहीं बेचे यार, पैसा भी नहीं आया.
Right.
Right? So it will take that effort, and if I continue to remain uncomfortable, and I continue to make sure that everybody is not becoming lethargic or comfortable with what they are doing or what they are achieving, because there's miles to go, miles, in Oscar Wilde style, miles to go before I sleep. So there are literally miles to climb, and we'll continue to chart that journey out.
Right. But then, what is it for them? What is it for the team members? Why?
You should ask Sohini. I have one of my team members here. What is in it for them? I think what is in it for them is they feel they are changing the very fabric of human being. What you wear, they question everything. They have answers to them. I think, I mean, Sohini has had what, 20 years of experience before
Right.
joining us? 20 years. She's been a journalist herself, right? Now she heads our PR. But why would a senior person like that join you? She will only join you if she finds it exciting enough. If in the morning she is not cribbing over, I need to go to office. If she is happy about coming to office and actually getting that task over, it just allows for everybody to prosper. So yeah, I think that's what's in it for the team. The 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 climb to that top, and that
Right.
top we don't know what it looks like,
Right.
right? And that the when we have these sometimes these dhanna meetings and we clap for each other, is like we had a month of March where we closed, like last year March, we closed around 100 crores per month. Like we actually breached that barrier.
Right.
And then almost all the PNL owners wanted to achieve that barrier by themselves. And one of our PNL did that in December.
Right.
One of the PNL. And the company breached the barrier of 200 crores. That is what is needed, because that is when you are constantly getting pushed as a founder as well, that
Right.
probably I am thinking small, these guys are thinking big, huge. Why am I thinking small? And that challenges your tonality of conversation, that challenges your thought process, and make sure that you have the mindset of coming to office and making the shit happen.
Right. Right. So let me go a little bit into culture of the company and culture of ReshaMandi, and if we can learn something about it. And people say that just by having a foosball table or a coffee machine doesn't mean, or cutting birthday cakes doesn't mean you're maintaining a good culture.
Yeah.
So is that something from you, the learnings of you and ReshaMandi, that you can share with us as to how do you make sure there is a good environment, good culture in the company?
i
What works best?
I have a single line to this. I have a culture of success. We don't we not necessarily are not celebrating our failures also, but we do make a shout, literal shout, when we are successful on something. It could be a field executive actually procuring cocoons from the farmers and him doing an exceptional job of I mean, if somebody picks up 5 tons of cocoons on a daily basis, I'm amazed as to how is he doing it, because I have handled cocoons myself. I know it is hard. And if he is able to convince so many farmers to come to Resha Mandi and be part of our journey, it's amazing, and it's hats off for him. Right? So we continue, like we have this monthly town hall meetings, and we continue to discuss our problems very openly. We continue to discuss our success stories very openly. We continue to applaud for people. And I think क्योंकि सक्सेस नहीं होगा ना, तो हरियाली नहीं आएगी, और हरियाली आएगी नहीं तो आपके अकाउंट में भी हरियाली जाएगी नहीं. It's very simple, right? So if the company is not successful, then we can't pass on the success to you. So hence your success is paramount to the company's success, and company's success is almost parallel to your success.
Right, right. So coming to valuation, right? So so I'll try
Why?
and connect it with how you have come along, right? Today, if I'm not wrong, you are valued anywhere between, I think, 2,500 to 3,000 crores. Um, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you know the humble beginnings that you started, right? So if you were supposed to start Resha Mandi today from the point that you have learned so much now in this business, right? So is there something that you want to go back and change, or how was the journey from starting from scratch to say 2,000 3,000 crores worth of valuation?
Valuations are a metric I don't track.
Okay.
Valuation is a metric that is there for the investors to calculate their IRRs.
Okay.
इसमें founders और employees का कुछ नहीं है.
Okay.
You get your exit only at the time of three things happening. One, if the company proposes a buyback of your ESOPs.
Right.
For that, I need another round to happen. नहीं तो मेरे पास तो पैसा ही नहीं है, दूंगा कैसे? Second, at the time of a liquidation event, which basically means मैंने कंपनी बेच दी, तो आप सबका भी पैसा बना, मेरा भी पैसा बन गया. For that to happen, I need to sell the company at a higher valuation.
Right.
The third is the golden benchmark of doing an IPO. ringing that bell, and all of a sudden, all of you are millionaires, right? For any of these three things to happen, uh, I think the ride to that is the baby steps you take at the start. I
Right.
still remember when the first money hit our account of our seed round, I was here, right there,
Okay.
right? And I got that SMS, this much money credited, and I was crying
Okay.
because that gave me validation that my thesis was right. Somebody is there to back me up, right? Uh, if I need to start all over again, will I change something? Probably not.
Okay.
Uh, it's a great learning experience that I went through. In 2.5 years, uh, the moment your investors kind of fund you, they expect you to mature the next day. Then you kind of do a large series A, and then the expectation is just parabolically high, right? It's basically, it just goes up the roof. Investors expects you to do a lot more things. They expect you to know everything. And it's not easy as a person for you to mature in a year's time to get to that answerability. But I think it's been a learning experience for me. I don't corporate governance, legal frameworks, or setting up subsidiaries and all that takes time. It takes for you to have an ecosystem around you of supporters and advisors who can come together and advise you on the right steps that you can take. Baki, it's a leap of faith here most of the time, right? People can advise you, but I think more often than not, as a founder, you are taking a call based on what your gut's saying, right? You
Right.
see the data, you see the approaches, and you say, okay, here are three approaches, but my gut says the third one is right. So you go take that because that is the founder's job of taking that gut call on certain things.
Right. I think I'm liking this conversation how it is going because I'm feeling that you are talking some real things. Like for example, when the message came, you said you cried,
Yeah.
right?
Arre.
So let's go to that cry thing. This is one of the questions that we also ask a lot of founders, even otherwise, which we do it in office as well. So is it okay to cry? Does an entrepreneur cry? Where does he cry? What happens to him? Right?
Okay,
Some of the things, some of the real things that
let me ask you one question. Are founders not human? They are as human as you are. I don't know for what reason founders are created as demigods in India. अरे इसने इतना पैसा उठा लिया, उसने ऐसा कर लिया, वैसा कर लिया, मीडिया ने छाप दिया, अरे हो गया यार. आई एम स्टिल द सेम पर्सन, घर जाऊंगा रोटी सब्जी खाऊंगा. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू चेंज माई सेल्फ. मिलियनर बिलियनर कुछ भी बन जाऊँ, घर जाके रोटी सब्जी खानी है, घर जाके बीवी की कहानी सुननी है, घर जाके बच्चे की कहानी सुननी है. देर इज़ नो चेंज इन माई लाइफ. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा चेंज क्या होगा, मेरी बीवी के कपड़े बदल जाएंगे, मैं थोड़े ब्रांडेड कपड़े पहन लूंगा, एक बड़ा सा विला खरीद लूंगा, मर्सिडीज चलाऊंगा, बस उसके अलावा क्या चेंज होने वाला है. दैट आर ऑल मटेरियलिस्टिक इन नेचर. आई थिंक it's a journey that's more important as a founder. So yes, that crying is the emotions that you outburst, and I am an emotional person. I'm most of the time when I'm talking at a public forum, and if there is a story that I relate to very deeply, then I do cry on podiums also. So I've done that, and it's very emotional for me. The journey of ReshaMandi or the journey of my early employees, I still feel, people who have come even when my round hadn't happened, in the sense the money hadn't come the account, and we just were at the term sheet stage. I didn't knew what the stages would look like, right? By the time my money hit my account, we were 17 folks, 1 7, and I had to still process their payrolls, and I had no money, right? So hats off to those guys to be able to join a founder just on the whims and wishes, like just on a vision. I mean, how many people do that? We are all always thinking, यार मेरे को पैसा नहीं आएगा तो मैं क्या करूँगा अगले महीने. Here are guys who have, like Devesh, one of our early employees, like he is now our senior vice president of operations, but he's been part of my early startup. Then I gave him a call about this one. He was about to become the national operations head for HUL. He resigned and came over. The right, I mean, it took him 5 days to come to Bangalore. packing everything in Delhi. Prashansa, she was my batchmate at college. And when I called her, she didn't expect me to have an office. She was thinking that I'm faffing out of my teeth and I'm bluffing. And when she arrived at this WeWork office, she was like, he's created a company, right? And this is my batchmate. So these are the guys who've put their lifeblood in this now. So I think that that's more important.
Wow, I think somebody to very candidly share that crying is normal. I think we should give him a big round of applause, guys.
Thank you.
Because one of my colleague here, Nandini, she asked me, do you think founders or entrepreneurs who come on stage, do you really think they speak the truth or they kind of butter it up a little bit? And no, but this is so candid, right? I mean, being able to share this, I think is you're very, very strong that way. I think, Mayank.
You'll have to be. I think. See, again, like I said, founders are human being after all. We are not demigods. We don't know everything. We are also going by what you are saying. Sometimes she will come to you, she will come to you, she will come to you with three different approaches. All I'm doing is basically looking at your approaches and just saying, okay, this is good for the company, this is bad for the company. That's it. Sometimes I might not even say that, and I say, okay, take your gut call and move on, right? And this happens with Sohini a lot, where she gets these media inquiries and she's like, what do I do? I said, what do you think you should be doing? And she said, okay, I'll handle it. Done. My job is over. She's handled it, right? And there's no going back after that because she's taken the mental on herself to be able to foster it forward.
Right. I'll little go deeper into the last part which you shared, which is you had 17 people on the payroll and the funds was just about to come in and you were preparing the payroll. So how does somebody deal with that kind of a situation? I mean, even in funding, it happens, right? Like whether the chicken comes first or the egg comes first. आप ट्रैक्शन लेके आओ हम फंडिंग देंगे या पहले फंडिंग दे दो फिर ट्रैक्शन बढ़ाएंगे
Correct.
so we are all at some point in time in that situation, right? So a situation like that, you're on a payroll, 17 members, funds to come, otherwise almost dry. And we have heard many entrepreneurs say, talk about this situation. And how at that point in time, how do you keep your peace? Is that you're a normal person? You said an entrepreneur is just a normal human being, but might be there's something in you that still kind of keeps you going. Is there something that you want to share at that situation? How do you keep your calm?
How do I keep my calm? I think when we had 17 employees, one thing we knew is we are in this for life,
Right.
right? And there was one of the investors, very interesting story, who came on the call. Normally does a C's check, like they don't even do series A and B. Normally they don't come on conversation for a founder who's yet to get a seed round. But this managing partner actually came on the call with me, spent 1 hour with me, and he said, just stay put. Just be there in the market. Everything will fall in place.
Right.
And that has stuck with me. Just be there.
Right.
Just make sure you're constantly moving forward. Just be around, and
Right.
nothing will go wrong. I think with that approach we've taken, the initial 17 folks, right? We said, guys, just stick around. Things will happen. If doesn't happen, I will break my FD. I'll give you the money. Don't worry. We are not shutting down. We are in this. Saurabh had already moved with his 9-month-old daughter from US. We are in this.
Right.
He's taken a Vande Bharat flight, not just to go back to US.
Right.
We are here to build, and we are going to build this. I
Right.
keep on telling this to my investor also. Back me, don't back me. I'm here. I'm going to stay. And I'm going to ring that bell when I need to.
Right. 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 So coming back to business, Mayank. So you started Resha Views. You have Resha Mudra, etc. So like they say, ideas don't come out fully formed from day one. I think, right? So on day one, might be you didn't have clarity on Resha Views or Resha Views or Resha Mudra, right? Only after you started working on it and the idea became more clearer, right? So am I true? I mean, so in the start you didn't have. Did you think you had Rishabh View's idea from day one?
I approached Saurabh in February of 2020.
Okay.
Company wasn't registered at that
Okay.
time, right? And I sent him this one slide which had textiles, entire supply chain, the problem statements written in
Right.
each node, and circles around it with different solution statements,
Right.
and it had everything that I wanted to capture. So
Okay.
sourcing, demand, merchandising, automation, finance, insurance, everything. It
Right.
was there
Right.
in my mind. And he called me crazy, investors called me crazy, saying, you should solve for one problem. Don't solve for everything. But I had this gut feel that if I don't solve for everything and I don't create this ecosystem around my stakeholders, uh, I won't be able to get the stickiness that I want in my platform or in the ecosystem that I'm trying to build. Plus, you're going to leave one leaf out for somebody else to take that piece of pie, and then they can create the entire ecosystem. You don't want to leave that for anyone, and I think as an entrepreneur I'm just built that way.
Right, right. So Feb 2020 is what you said, and exactly that is when the next month the lockdown for coronavirus started. So but if you see your numbers, it speaks really you've done really well. So COVID was really good for you in terms of business scaling up. Like for us, for example, COVID is the time we saw the maximum amount of orders for rice from Singapore, Malaysia, etc. Everybody was panicking and ordering, and suddenly I was seeing a order book of 100 containers. At that time we used to do only like 1 or 2 containers a month, and we didn't even know how to process 100 containers in a month.
Sure.
So during the COVID story, what happened? How did you actually pull this off?
Yeah, we are a COVID baby. We actually registered the company on 13th of May, when everybody was sitting at their home chilling, doing the lockdown stories on Instagram. I was actually with my farmers, my weavers, my yarn manufacturers. I'd taken this essential pass and I was on the road. It was lovely to ride at that time because I love driving. So it didn't bother me to drive 300, 400 kilometers a day. So I used to do that. And that
Right,
allowed me to see, what are the problem statements? What can I solve for? That time, I think everybody was scared that, I don't want to get out of my house. For a B2B ecosystem, it was the right opportune time to interject at each node and be able to create that demand curiosity in the market. So yeah,
right,
that was our story as to why COVID worked in our favor.
right. I see you refined yourself from, say, digitizing silk to natural fibers. I think you also saw the total addressable market now becoming too large. Silk, China is also one of a big player in the market. So, how do you see your industry of silk or natural fibers going, Mayank? What did you see earlier versus how do you intend to make Resha Mandi the probably the global leader, because now you're also into exports, etc. So, where do you see Resha Mandi and this industry going?
See, industry is growing. No two ways about it. Very simply put, roti kapda makan. हम कपड़े के बिजनेस में हैं. Second
Right,
basic necessity of humankind. If you are without clothes, the sofa that you are sitting in or the tissues here won't exist. What will you do? So my demand is not going out of place.
right,
That exists and it's going and it's growing at a CAGR of 5-10%. I'm happy. Uh, Textile industry can be broken in a very simple fashion to a man-made fiber, regenerated fiber, natural fiber. We work on regenerated and natural fiber story. We don't work on man-made fibers for now until they are recycled. So we do work on recycled polyester.
right,
But I think there is great potential in the industry. Industry was ripened for a digital adoption to happen. Uh, People were looking for options. People wanted to trace their supply chains. People wanted to create more sustainability practices inside their supply chain. People wanted to reach out to the last leg of the supply chain, which is our farmers. And I think a journey like ours can take that leap of faith and move forward in fulfilling that need in the market.
right, right. So apart from Resha Mandi, one of your favorite startups that you probably use their app or something, and you're like much impressed or fascinated by it, and why?
Too much fascinated or impressed. I think I like the shape that Mintra took.
Okay,
Uh, it started somewhere by printing the T-shirts, then scaling to a marketplace model, then being able to capture the market leadership, and then being able to take over Jabong,
Right.
and then finally being able to sell yourself to Flipkart. So I think it's a good journey. It's a yet to figure out their unit economics, but they kind of have figured out the consumer mindset.
Right, right. So even in Mintra, I recently heard that they used to have a studio right in the reception,
Yeah.
so that when visitors or team members come, they see that there are models coming in, there's makeup happening, and whenever there are new joinees, they
Yep.
dress them up, they
Yeah.
put makeup on them. So, anything that you want to share from Resha Mandi's experience for startups like us, or for many of budding entrepreneurs, there are few things in a startup which you learned that is worth sharing with us, might be in terms of team, might be in terms of funding, might be in terms of being frugal on the costs.
I'll tell you, I think one thing that I've learned over the last 2.5 years, always hire people who are 10 times smarter than you.
Right,
Always. If you are the dumbest person in that room, then you are home.
right,
Because then people will take the job responsibility off your hand, and
right,
they'll be able to thrive in an entrepreneurial environment.
right,
You hire people. हमारा सब लोगों का apprehension होता है when if let's suppose I don't know what your salary package is, but let's suppose your package is 36 lakhs. Now if I get you to interview somebody who's at 1 crore, your mind is always saying boss मेरे को पैसा कम मिलता है, मैं इस आदमी को कैसे hire करूं.
right,
Problem is what you're not realizing is A, you are an early employee, so the founder's mindset is towards you. You're already been given a position, so of course the person who's getting interviewed either will be at parallel or will be below you. And even if they are earning more than you, the long term you will make more value of your worth being around with that company. Because what happens for an early stage employee, look at Flipkart. There is a Flipkart mafia out there.
yes,
Look at PayPal. There is a PayPal mafia out there. Why? These are early employees who took the bet with their careers. They may not have earned as much as the market conditions are, but they did uh, get to start a company and get to become billionaires after that, right? So that's the position your early team is at. I mean, they don't get it, but your core team is always the guys that you are believing in. So they should go out and hire the smartest folk out there and actually be able to negotiate with them, saying, "Listen, I'll make you a long-term value," and get them to reduce their pay package.
might be managers or leaders might sometimes feel threatened by their skill set when you say, okay, find somebody who's smarter than you. Might be inferiority complex, or when you hire somebody smarter. So for managers, how do they overcome this? Okay, you talked about the package where, okay, you're trying to convince them to come and you're smart and your job will be easier. So but there is a human side of this also.
Yeah, be it the human side or be it the financial side. At the end of the day, think about this. If you are managing something and you hire somebody who's 10 times smarter than you, won't they come up with a solution that the problem statement that's been stagnant in your life for very long? Won't they be able to solve it? They will be able to. So you might as well hire that person. What is there to get threatened about? I mean, see, there are jobs that get redundant, but that is the learning, right? You continue to learn, you continue to explore the other side of the opportunity. And if this guy is 10 times smarter and can take up your role, I think manager's agenda should be to become dispensable. A
Right.
founder's agenda should be to become dispensable. If you can, this is something that I follow, if you can take 1 month of leave and come back to your business and your team will be at par or going beyond what you planned for,
Right.
then you are dispensable. That is the time for your growth upwards. Until that time, don't believe that you are, even if you go to your manager and say, okay, I want to grow upwards, won't happen because you've not created a redundancy for yourself. So if today I want to take a step back from the CEO seat, I need to be able to assure myself that if I go out of my business for 5, 10 days, 1 month, then once I come back, my team will take care of it. So if you're able to create that, nothing will happen.
Coming back to presence on social media or in the startup ecosystem, some founders we have seen they are very vocal.
Yep.
They are, the presence on social media is felt,
Right.
but some are very closed door. Like for example, those days when Flipkart used to be there, right? Sachin and Binny Bansal never used to be that socially very active.
Yep.
Versus might be now because Cred is there, Kunal Shah is very vocal and he's there in the social media on Insta, Twitter, etc. So, in terms of the company's image, how much of it is totally relying also sometimes on the founder versus being being socially very active versus not being very socially active? What do you think should be
This
according to you?
There's no strategy to this. It's uh, I think it's oneself. You want to lay bare your entire life in front of everyone. Please do that. It's your choice.
Okay,
You don't want to do it. You're a private person. Don't do it. It's your choice again. But carrying that brand image is the founder's job. I
right,
am ReshaMandi and ReshaMandi is me, is what I need to think of. And hence, sorry to break the bubble, but apart from my Facebook ID, I don't manage any one of them.
oh, is it?
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's with my marketing team. They do the
okay,
job. So whatever you see the post on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter, it's all them. I'm not doing it primarily because it's the brand propositioning that they need to do with it, right?
right,
If I have follower base and they can leverage it, might as well do it. Why not? But will I be able to do it myself? No. But in between me and Saurabh, Saurabh is a person who is not given his handles to anyone, and he writes his own post.
right.
Good for him. Great, he can do it. I just want to look at, okay, what are you writing from my handle, and I just want to know, make sure that there is nothing negative that I am portraying myself with. That's it. But I think I'm a very
Right,
hands-off person from that.
right. So we're almost towards the end of the program.
Yes,
A few more questions to go, and then I'll open it for the
sure.
Q&A. So from again going back to the initial days till today, how big is the team at ReshaMandi? What's exciting that's happening, and how do you see ReshaMandi in the next 1 or 2 years?
Sure. So I think, like I said, we were 17 before our seed round came. Today we are around 600,
Okay,
uh, right? And how do we see ourselves growing in next 2 years? I think one metric that is very crucial to me and very close to my heart is revenue per employee.
okay,
I look at it very carefully. If there is a dip in the number on a month-on-month basis, even though the business has outperformed, I ask my team to crucially look at redundancy in their teams because it's important. Uh, we have a policy that we will be driven by the KPIs, we will be driven by monthly goals, and we do a periodic. Forget about periodic. We do a monthly review with our employees. All the managers have to do it. All the employees have to do it. That is when you are given out a star rating, and basis the star rating, if you are on a continual path of below performance, then we'll put you onto a PIP program. Make sure that you can either upskill yourself and get back to business, or you know that there is no point of being around. So we make sure that it's you given time, but at the same point in time we can't have the redundancy in the company.
right. So if you are not at Resha Mandi on some working on something serious, and if you're taking a time off, where do we find Mayank? What do you like? What do you do otherwise?
5:30 morning you will find me in my swimming,
Okay,
swimming trunks, probably swimming for 1 hour. uh,
okay,
Otherwise in the evenings you will find me with my kid.
okay,
That's uh, that's that's how I kind of unwind myself, and I think me and my wife both love traveling, so that comes naturally. Every 3 4 months we travel. Initially, before Reshamandi, it used to be every weekend. We used to be out of Bangalore. We used to be not around,
okay,
but now it can't happen. So I'm around, but we make it a point that we are traveling. So. Uh, whether it's an international trip or it's a national, or it could be we don't go to resorts.
Okay. Okay.
Generally, people have the tendency कि चलो resort जाएंगे, relax करेंगे. We don't like relaxing. We are early risers ourselves, so we go explore places. We go towards roads that are unexplored. We shut down our Google Map and just drive, right?
Okay.
And my kid also love it. We have a sunroof in my car, so he can just pop out his head and we can continue to drive. So it's basically that feel of being together with my family that allows me to unwind more and more.
Okay. From a 17-member team to say 600, a lot of time it happens that everybody comes to you. कि मैं इनको जाके ही पूछूंगा kind, right? So how did you kind of bring the process in place that ki kindly, sometimes you have to might have to be rude, or I don't know how trickily you
I'm not
handle it.
rude. I'm not rude. People are scared.
Okay.
But no, jokes apart, I think at Resha Mandi from the beginning, we are a very hierarchical organization. We are not a flat organization.
Okay.
It's the DNA of the company. We have 6 bands, 3 sub-bands in each band, which means there are 18 bands in the company.
Okay.
So you get tagged to one of them, and then you clearly know what is your growth look like. So if you are at a L 1.2, which means you are at a CXO level, of course, the only growth path you have is to start your own company and become a founder. Other than that, you already have a growth plan, and you can continue to grow with us. But at a senior level, yes, the growth does get stagnant.
Okay. And might be one of your most stressed day. I don't know for what reason. And if you have to escape, like I don't know, in WeWork, I think you can go to another floor, sit in the lobby, or you are disconnected at least some time off from the regulars.
Sure.
So, do you have an escape like that at Resha Mandi's office? You have a space where you can sit alone, not being disturbed.
I I think it's my cabin.
Okay.
If I'm in my cabin, I'm alone because people will knock and I can just tell them not to come in.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't think I have a place in office as such. But I think once we go home, this is a habit that me and Saurabh has fostered over years now. We are
Right.
school friends, so love chit chatting with each other. Our wives are anyways calling each other the other wife, so you can imagine the kind of conversations we are having. But I think it's more about me going back home, him going back his home, and then after we have given time enough to our family of 1 2 hours, we get on a call, and then we sometimes just chat, like nonsensical
Right.
things, right? Sometimes it's about the dream of ringing that IPO bell. Sometimes it's about beating the largest companies out there. Sometimes it's just about saying कल होने क्या वाला है ये भी नहीं पता है, right?
Great. So I think this is it. As a last piece of advice before we open for Q&A, first time entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs with say limited in capital, or because you are from NIFT and you have spent a lot of time at working for launching a lot of brands, strategies, etc. Might be because of that you were a lot capable of leading Resha Mandi. What if somebody would have start from college? Do you think that experience? Do you think what works? If it was not you, good somebody would have actually really had Resha Mandi or start Resha Mandi.
I don't know. I can't answer that. I think it's for the world to answer,
Right.
not Mayank Tiwari to answer whether Mayank Tiwari is the right founder or not for Resha Mandi. But I think for the first time founders, whether you're out of college, whether you have 2 years of experience, 8 years, 10 years, 40 years of experience, if you are a first time founder, all you need to think about is, do I believe in my idea so much so that if this is going to docs, I will be the last person to deboard myself from the ship. If that is an answer, and that answer is yes, then you are on to something. You need to have a very strong conviction and a very simple mindset that I'm going to stay put, come what may, right? मेरे को घर बेचना पड़ेगा, मैं घर बेच दूंगा. गाड़ी बेचनी होगी, गाड़ी बेच दूंगा. पैदल चलना पड़ेगा, पैदल चलूँगा, but I will make it happen. So if you have this inkling of doubt or a iota of doubt in your mind that पता नहीं क्या होगा, मेरी फाइनेंशियल सिक्योरिटी का क्या, मेरे बीवी बच्चों का क्या, मेरा इसका क्या, मेरा उसका क्या, then you're not going to do justice to an entrepreneurial journey.
Great. Thank you so much, Mayank. I think
Most
whatever
welcome.
however your day is going, you still, as a founder, because you're leading from the front, you still, I think, have to still come to work with a smiling face and lead the team.
Oh, not every time. Why do I need to smile every time?
Not
No,
required.
not every time. We have a 9:30 morning leadership call, and if
Okay.
I'm not in a good mood, everybody is pissed at 10 o'clock. That means everybody has had their day in the office. We just see we are as human as you can think. I am not going to put a brave face out just because I am a founder. I'm not going to do it. Why should I do it? I mean, if there is a that is happening in the office, I will tell you that. That boss, we sorry, nothing's going to work. Now, please come up with solutions. Why not brainstorm with my team? I'll do that, and I do that more often than not. You won't believe I call these guys at 6:30 in the night, evening, and say, "Okay, come back to office. We need to brainstorm." I do that as well.
Good. So this is Mayank Tiwari, guys. If any of you having any questions that you want to ask, yeah, Vaibhavi.
Yeah. Little while back, we were talking about solving for the entire
Supply chain, yeah.
ecosystem, right? So when you are working on multiple problems altogether, solving and building out multiple products, solving for multiple use cases at the same time, there might be an endless loop of problems to solve, right? So
Yeah.
how do you prioritize which one to solve first, and how do you go
How do
about that whole thing?
simple? What is my customer wanting at that time? Right? You know what your customer wants. Give it to them. That's your priority number one. Now, my whims and wishes can come at the fag end. That doesn't matter. And see, Henry Ford could have said that. If I would have asked people, they would have said horses. As to what do you want? You know this, right? But it's not true today as such. People do know stuff. Ask them the right question. In five whys, if you're not getting to the problems, deep core of the problem, then you're asking wrong questions.
Hi Mayank, I'm Nandini. Firstly, congratulations on building ReshaMandi.
Thank you.
We also got to hear that ReshaMandi is looking forward to raise Series B at a valuation of dollar 300 to 400 million. So I have a small question. What is success to Mayank Tiwari?
What is success to me?
Yeah,
If I'm able to make every employee of mine a millionaire or a billionaire, that's success.
great. Thank you.
Can you elaborate a little bit more?
It's
Is
very
it
simple. See, uh, most of the time, founders have this mindset that I'll be becoming the billionaire or the millionaire myself, right? But it's about passing the value to everyone who's part of your journey. Initial people will get a lot more. Later, when people are joining you at matured stages, get lesser. But it's part and parcel of life. People who are taking the risk will get the reward the most. Of course, the founders have taken the first risk, so they get rewarded first. But it's not that the employees shouldn't get the benefit of it. If you're part of the initial team, ask for it. You should get it.
Hi Mayank, my name is Prithvi.
Yeah, yeah. Go
yeah?
ahead.
So my question is, if you have any advice for people who are in their 20s, so
Who are?
who are in their 20s,
Okay.
any advice for them?
यार पैसा बचाना शुरू कर दो क्योंकि मैंने नहीं बचाया. No, I think savings are a crucial part of your life. In our 20s, we have this habit of, कि यार देखा जाएगा, शादी होगी तब बीवी देख लेगी, और बीवियों के दिमाग में, लड़कियों के दिमाग में होता है हस्बैंड देख लेगा. So don't be dependent on the other person. Start saving. Thankfully for me, my wife came into my life and she started to save. But I've never saved money in my life.
Following question: what about in their career?
Career.
In 20s.
Uh, when you are in your 20s and if you're not taking risk, then you are basically, I think, in your 20s you should take the biggest risk of your career. Take that, you know, make a big bold statement and take that risk, even if you're getting paid less. Like my first job, I still remember I could have got any kind of job that I wanted. I had offers from 4 companies, and I chose the least package that was offered to me, primarily because I was getting a big responsibility, right? And I wanted that. Uh, but it's one, it's on to you as a person. You can decide to take that risk or not take that risk, depending on what you want out of your career. I wanted to become this is something that I met one of my juniors in Delhi around 2 months back, and she came and we were clicking a selfie, and she said, "You did tell me that in college that you'll become the CEO of a company someday, and you've probably become the CEO at best that I can find." So I think that's an that's the line I would give you. So basically, think about what do you want to do in your 30s? Where do you want to go? And do you want to start your business? If you want to really start your business, be part of a strategy team at a founder's office. Be close to the founder as much as possible, because that's going to give you a lot more ideas as to what you can think of. If you want to build your career towards being a data architect, then think about that. If you want to basically earn in dollars and go to US, then think about joining a company that can probably offer you on site in your 20s. So it's up to oneself actually.
Is there any advice on upskilling themselves or ourselves? Might be for somebody's in the 20s.
Don't you think every day is a learning experience? I think for me that is what it is. Every day is a learning experience. I learn from people in 20s a lot. How to use Instagram, to be very honest. That's something that I learned from the people in my office who were in 20s. Kshitij, who's part of our core group and leadership, he's just 29. He's my VP of strategy, right? He heads all the strategic discussions. He heads my equity discussions. He looks at our debt raise. He is a crucial cog in the wheel for ReshaMandi, right? And sometimes he just startles me with the knowledge that he has. So I think it's a learning experience, and you continue to learn.
Right,
Thank you.
right.
Hi, this is Ananya. So my question is, for a candidate coming to join your company, what would you choose, skill sets or degree?
We don't go by pedigrees. We go by what is the need gap of the company. Uh, and I think what's more important at ReshaMandi is we go by whether we can trust you or not. If we can't trust you, uh, then we won't hire you. Culturally, if you're not fitting, we won't hire you.
Right.
You could be a rock star, but we will not hire you. We want to hire for trust. We want to make sure that our tagline is relationships matter. For us, that's the only thing that matters. I'll get you upskilled if I need to. I'll get you competent if I need to. Skills you can buy. I mean, very simply put, if you have money, you can buy the skills. But what I can't buy is the loyalty and trust. And that's something that I look out for every time. And that's one of the very crucial interview that you go through when my HR is talking to you at the
Right.
start of your interview process.
Right. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah.
So, hi, Mahalakshmi here.
Hi, Malak.
So, my question for you is what is your favorite part being an entrepreneur?
Favorite part
Yeah.
of being able to decide my own destiny,
Okay.
right? My favorite part. I can decide whatever I want to do and decide the destiny of myself. I'm no longer bound by the restrictions imposed to me by a job. I'm no longer doing that job, right? So if ReshaMandi succeeds, great. I've created a legacy. If not, I've at least taken a learning experience and moved forward.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I think that's it. Yeah. So thank you so much,
Thank
Mayank,
you.
for taking out time and coming here. I think before you go, we have something very small to.
You again have something? You already have given me something.
That's already from Resha Weaves. So